Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Today I have a layout process video for you featuring two challenges, one from the CKC group and one from the Load Layout a Day challenge. Now here you can see my printer at home is not doing so well, so I'm just going to make do with these imperfect photos. So the first challenge I am working on is to use at least 3 tags, and that is from CKC. And the second challenge is to tell a story about a tough decision, as well as to use a drippy inky technique on your layout. So I'm going to do both of those things, and as I pull my CKC kit, I use that butterfly paper that's going to be my background, and then I'm pulling a bunch of papers that I'm going to create tags out of, as well as I'm going to use strips to create a shelf to hang all those tags off of. So I will have this strong horizontal element going on, and the basis of that is going to be that camera print, as well as bits and pieces of these other prints. So here I am creating my tags. I've been doing a lot of my own tags lately. I just measure equidistance from the corners of the tag and give it a little slice off there, and then hole punch. And I do have that We Are Memory Keepers reinforcement hole punch that I really like for my tags. So I do have a contrasting little bit there. As I plan this layout, I do set everything aside, give myself a little pencil mark for the mixed media that I've got going on here. This stencil is a bit of a pie wedge kind of stencil, and I really like that motif because it reminds me of, the mathematical concept of balancing out and visualizing the pros and cons, or the different elements that go into something. And so for me, that was the pros and cons. Okay, here I am back with all of my parts of the layout while my mixed media dries. I did cut all of these apart so that I could have them ready to go once that modeling paste is dry. And the modeling paste that I'm using right now dries pretty quickly, so I didn't have to wait too long. But I do have another mixed media element to do on that, and that is adding some drippiness to this. And I'm using a color of re-inker from the ink pad I used to stamp that background, and I have a video on me creating that background if you're interested. I'll link it up. And now I've never done this directly onto the paper before, and when I tried to practice, my paper was too absorbent, but this Vicky Bouton paper that I have here is less absorbent, so I was hoping that it would work out okay. And while it absorbed a little bit, it did bleed and flow enough that I was happy with it. So I would probably go ahead and do this technique again in the future. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry, and I'm going to leave it hanging with this little clip so that that color can continue to flow downwards and bleed out into the water that I added, so that I can get more of that drippy effect that I was looking for. And that reminds me of sadness, because our family was sad when we made this decision, which was to move out of state. And so the hard decision here was deciding what we should do when our job situation changed. So I am going to put these photos together in parts of that story, and then I'm using the tags that are the least busy underneath of those photos to be the journaling placeholders, and then the rest of the tags, which were mostly the back sides, the back patterns of these tags that I cut for journaling, are going to be filling out that tag grouping. And once I have everything in place, I use this low tag tape to keep it as one giant unit, which makes it easier to work with. And I will glue that down. My glue tape runner was out, so I just grabbed my liquid glue here, which actually works better on top of bumpy mixed media anyway, so maybe it was a good thing my tape runner was out. All right, now I have got everything glued down and in place, and I will trim off any edges that are hanging over, and I will get my title going on there, which is going to fit right nicely on that horizontal element to this layout. And this is how I'm doing my title these days. I cut them on my Cricut, and then I glue them down to my layout. So with that done, I am ready to get some journaling going on. Now, because I wanted to be sure I got everything I needed to say to fit in those tag spaces, I am practicing on this piece of scratch paper, and I will do that pretty often when I need to make sure my journaling will fit. And then I did get all my journaling on there, so I have just moved on to just a few embellishments here. I've got some wood veneer banners that I'm going to use. I've got some circles that are kind of enamel epoxy stickers. as well as some cardstock stickers. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. A few enamel dots, and then I'm going to layer up. On top of these wood veneer banners, I'm actually using these small letters to write pros, cons, and then go, which was our decision to go ahead and move. And so I am layering up more bits and pieces here with these cardstock stickers and the enamel dots and whatnot so that I feel like everything has a finishing touch to it. I also did add in a couple of wood veneer birds, which is another one of those motifs. We have one bird that's sitting still and one bird that's flying away. And so I did add those in to help support the story there. These little word stickers from Vicky Boutin add a little bit more pop of that black that I was going for against those colorful tags and the drippy color. So I think that finishes off my layout for, actually I did pull out a couple more little die cut ephemera pieces, so I got those on there, and that finishes off the layout. So we will take a few close-up looks at this. Here is the overall look at that layout, and then taking a closer look at how those photos are clustered and the few bits of embellishment that I did around those. Here's a look at how that row of tags works for my journaling. And then for the final tag is our decision to go and fly away. And then here is what that mixed media looks like. So that is it for today's layout. I hope you enjoyed it, got something useful out of it. If you did, please do give me a like because that does help my channel. And I will be back later this week with 2 more videos, my SCT unboxing, as well as another layout process. So do join me then.